Welcome back to the Tailoring Talk Magazine. It's Roberto. I have been asked where the podcast has disappeared. Apparently there are people that miss us, miss me, and miss these episodes. So, where have we been? Well, life has been getting in the way, unfortunately, and when you run a business, you have to prioritize. And I think I've just been going for too long, basically keeping the business running, servicing clients, looking after family, other external stuff going on, and doing the podcast and rebooting the YouTube channel last year and then growing that. And it was just getting too much. Like, it just got to the stage where I just had to drop a couple things for a while. And unfortunately, the podcast was one of them, with the exception of the Bondathon, of course. I'm really glad that John, Alex and I have kept that up. And, you know, we are in kind of a bit of a, not a no man's land, purgatory, I don't know. We're in this kind of weird place at the moment as we've rebranded to Tailoring Talk Magazine. And, you know, we're just trying to sort of figure out how best to produce content and kind of pull it all together under this banner. I mean, magazines generally tend to have sections, you know, variety magazines, like they'll have a movie section and a news section and a this section and a that section. So I think what I'm going to do with this episode is we're going to kick off a new thing, and we're going to call it Tailoring Thoughts. Because I was out to dinner with Carolina and another friend of ours the other evening, and it seems that I do have a lot of those that I keep locked up inside, and people only get a hint that I'm having tailoring thoughts when I make sudden exclamations like, what the is that person doing that thing for, or why are they wearing that, or like, what the was that about? So I'm not going to go on for too long today, because it's 7:40 on a Sunday evening. Alex has reminded me that we are recording the very last episode of the Bondathon, sadly, on Tuesday. We're reviewing No Time to Die. And we really thought, dragging the Bondathon out that long, they'd have announced a new Bond and there might even be a new movie on the horizon. But none of that's happened as of November 2024. But it's nice to kind of it will be nice to get the No Time to Die episode out in December, because it's the end of the year. And then in 2025, we can start something new. So there we go. So tailoring thoughts. So first one, tailoring a video. I have just edited my first multicam video in Final Cut Pro for the iPad. I have an iPad Pro with the M4 processor, which is ridiculously quick. And I have recorded a video which will be going up on the YouTube channel, I hope tomorrow, Monday, the whatever of November, 17th of November? No, 18th of November. And it is a tutorial on, wait for it, it's riveting, how to care for and how to iron your shirts, which weirdly has been hugely requested, widely requested. And also I felt it was necessary, because so many of my clients are really useless when it comes to this sort of stuff. Sorry, I'm just a touch distracted because it's finished exporting and I now need to save it to our shared drive, the Tailoring Talk Magazine scrapbook, and then I can just then move it to the MacBook and then do some additional editing and put some music on it and put a title card and an end card and all that stuff. But yeah, there we go. So I'm not sure if it's going to get a load of views. There seem to be a lot of people out there that just don't know how to care for or launder their shirts or iron their shirts. As a generation, my generation seems to have failed because we're just not teaching our kids anything. It's been made for our clients. It's also been made for our clients' children because our clients are not really parenting their children that well in certain areas of their lives, particularly when it comes to, things to do with the wardrobe and manners and etiquette. And I'm going to get onto that in a second, actually, because there was something that did happen the other evening that really, really grated me. Grated me? I don't know. But you know what I mean? Pissed me off. So I'm kind of making these videos now sort of with my clients in mind and also with future generations in mind because, the children are not being taught or handed down the lessons of their forefathers and foremothers, whatever. We are losing so much people with each generation that is born. How to dress, how to tie a tie, how to iron your shirts, how to hang a pair of trousers on a hanger, pants for my American listeners. And also I need to stop saying I need to say our, because now it's not just me. I have co-hosts who are not here today, funnily enough, but still John and Alex are co-hosts. So that's very disrespectful to them. I'm not really that apologetic because of the way that they've just cocked up every one of the last 3 or 4 episodes of the Bondathon with their antics. But anyway, I love you guys if you're listening. So if you have got any sartorial or etiquette conundrums, then send them in. Click the link in the show notes. At the bottom, you'll see a link that says text the show and drop us a message or email us. Or if you're on Instagram, drop me a DM. Or if you're a client, if you're still a client after listening to this, drop me an email. You have my address. So I'd love to hear from you. And then I can make more videos and give you more tailoring thoughts. So there we go. So here's another tailoring thought. So we're talking about tailoring manners and stuff. So we were out the other evening. What were we doing? Oh, we were at someone's birthday. And then we got there like an hour after the nibbles were served. And you'd think that nibbles in a reputable pub would be pretty extensive. And I'm not blaming our hosts for this. I blame the pub. But I'm not going to name the pub because pubs are in enough trouble as it is these days. But it is a very nice pub and we take our dogs there a lot. We got there maybe about 45 minutes to an hour after the nibbles were due to be, started to be served. And there was nothing left. There was just I actually picked something up that I thought was a rib, and I bit into it. And it turns out it was not just a slice of corn on the cob, but it was a slice of corn on the cob that someone else had eaten the corn off of and put back on the serving dish. And I picked it up because it was kind of dark. I picked it up thinking it was like a rib, like a spare rib. And I bit into it and it was not a spare rib. It was basically a slice of corn on the cob that had no corn on it and also had someone's germs all over it. So if I contract COVID in the coming days, I know where that happened. So we were really hungry. So we had to leave early to go find some food. And we went to a pizza place in West Hampstead, Zia Lucia. And I have delivered for Zia Lucia as part of my pandemic job, which when my business was shut, which was working for Uber Eats and delivery, which regular listeners will know, I endured. And they were really popular. They opened in West Hampstead last year. But I wouldn't recommend it. If you're in West Hampstead and you want pizza, I would go to Sacro Dough. They are at the top of Finchley Road and they are owned by a lovely couple. The guy, oh God, what's his name? I should know his name. Jeez. But he's Italian and his wife is Spanish. But it's a family-run business, and their pizzas are awesome. The dough is like homemade, and it's so light, and their pizzas taste great. So yeah, go to Sacro Dough in Finchley Road if you're ever in that part of northwest London. Don't go to Zia Lucia because it wasn't great. But anyway, so this is what happened. I'm sitting there and I look across the restaurant, and there's lots of young people because it's a Friday night. And there's a couple sort of sitting directly behind us, and they're sitting next to each other, which is fine. You know, they're in love, all the rest of it. Why should you sit opposite each other? And, you know, kind of dressed sort of semi-hop, semi-hipster, and semi sort of goth with boots and all the rest. But they look good. They were a really good looking couple. Like he was, you know, kind of, I mean, not like good looking, but sort of, you know, he was fine. And then his girlfriend was pretty. They both looked like they had no stress in their fucking lives whatsoever. Like, you know, clear skin and, you know, no hint of trauma in their eyeballs. You know, they just looked like they had no problems whatsoever. So I'm thinking, you know, like wankers, your parents are probably fucking rich. Anyway, so they're eating their pizza, and they have a whole pizza each. I don't know where this girl's putting this pizza away, but anyway. But here's the thing. They're kind of sitting there and they shovel a load of pizza in their mouths, and then they're just sitting there eating with their mouths open. Now, you might think, okay, now you're being a jerk because who cares? But, I mean, seriously? But it's not just that they were eating with their mouths open. I could see the fate of the pizza that they shoveled into their mouths. Like, they were literally like... I could hear it from the other side of the fucking restaurant. And I could see, like, this girl, like, so beautiful. And then you could just see, like, pizza slowly turning into mush inside her hat. Like, I could literally see it happening live. You know, they're just looking around gormlessly as they're chewing with their mouths wide open. I mean, when I was growing up, sat at the dining table, you were taught, you know, right hand, your cutting hand, keep your elbows off the table, asked to be excused when you finished your dinner, and above all else, keep your fucking mouth shut when you're eating. And there will be people that might listen to this and think, like, seriously, what a dick. But I'm in a restaurant, I don't want to see that. So anyway, I look around and there are lots of other young people in there, and they're all doing the same freaking thing. They're all eating with their mouths open. Now, I don't blame them necessarily. I blame the parents, like, seriously. So if these are all sort of late teens, early 20-somethings, then their parents have got to be, you know, sort of either in their sort of mid to late 40s or 50s, possibly even early 60s, because God knows people are having kids later and later these days. So if you're in that sort of late 40s to early 60s age bracket, like, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Like, what the hell have you done? Like, you failed as parents, I'm sorry. If your kids are the type of kids that sit there eating with their mouths full, like literally looking like a human cement mixer, then you have failed as a parent. So there we go. I just wanted to get that off my chest. And please correct this behavior. It's not great. These are, you know, leaders of the future, and we need them to keep their mouths shut when they're eating. Thank you very much. Tailoring Thoughts. Wide leg trousers. So there's this trend at the moment. So, you know, clients are always like, hey, what's in fashion at the moment? And, you know, you tell them that lapels are getting a little bit wider, or people aren't wearing their suit trousers as skinny anymore, or people want comfort. This has especially been a trend post-pandemic because everybody was in sweatpants and, you know, loose clothes down there, you know, while they were in a shirt or whatever for Zoom calls. And they came out of lockdown 3 fatter than when they went in to lockdown in the first place. And everybody was just sort of saying, just don't make my suits as fitted as you used to. I want comfort, I want movement. So that's kind of been the main sort of trend the last couple of years. But there's this other trend that has emerged in the last few months, which is the wide leg pants trend. And that's where you see ladies with boyfriend style jeans or bell bottoms are back. And I always think they look so sexy on women. So I don't have a problem with that. And they look stylish as well. So I'm kind of cool to see them back on ladies. Like when you see pictures of Twiggy and people like that from the late 60s and 70s, they just look so cool, Jane Birkin and, all those sorts of people. And then when the guys do it, the guys are wearing so one of my clients, his son came into the workroom and he works in property and he's in his late 20s, maybe early 30s now. And he's a rising star, followed his dad into the industry. He's a smart guy. He's a lovely guy. I love him to bits. I love taking care of him. I feel very privileged that I get to look after some of my clients' sons now. It's also kind of weird. It makes me feel super fucking old because, they'll come into the workroom the first time to get measured up. And I'm like, I remember when you were born on your dad and your mum's bathroom floor and your dad was delivering you and I was calling him, trying to book him in for a suit fitting. And now here you are in front of me and I'm measuring you up and they're just looking at me like, wow, like how old are you? I mean, they're genuinely probably looking at me asking, how old are you? Because I don't look my age, but hey, there you go. It's all, brown, don't frown, all of that. So anyway, so he came in wearing these trousers that were so wide, they were wide in the seat. They were just super wide through the legs. I mean, 30 inches wide or something. And he wanted me to make him business casual trousers. And so I did. And then I delivered them. And then he messaged me and said, they're not wide enough. And I was like, well, we made them wider. So, what more do you want? And then he sent me a picture of something that looked like the trousers he was wearing when he came in for his fitting. And he said, I want you to make them this wide. And I was like, okay, well, look, I'm going to have to remake them because, those what you want is 10 inches wider than what we've done for you. But also you want these for work. Fashion is one thing. And if you want to follow fashion, fine, but keep it out of the workplace. Because... And I said this to him, I was like, you're going places, people above you that are looking at you as a leader of the future are just not going to take you seriously if you're walking around with, a couple of parachutes strapped to your legs. I mean, you just look freaking ridiculous. I remember we went into Beau Concept recently, the fancy Scandi furniture store, because we needed to get something. I can't remember what. And I think that store's overpriced and I think that their products are not that great. But anyway, that's by the by. My wife wanted to go in there, so what am I going to do? And you think in a high-end furniture store, I mean, these guys charge their TV cabinet, a small coffee table or something is 1,200 quid. I mean, seriously. So we walk in and you expect them to, they were always pre-COVID. It was everybody was dressed nicely like the Scandinavians do. And then, Carolina's just walked in, so maybe she could join in on this. I'm recording for the podcast. And we go into Beau Concept. And when we went into Beau Concept previously, we spent a ton of money in there. Everybody's sort of dressed in that Scandi way, very smart, glass of champagne, all that kind of thing. Lovely. Post-pandemic, we go in. And some guy who hasn't shaved for 5 days is wearing clothes that are about 50 times his size, and he's wearing those stupid wide leg trousers that everybody seems to love wearing these days. And we just look at each other and we're like, come on. I know she's slitting her throat, I don't want to be on this, but we were like, I mean, we were like, well, let's go into Bow Concept, and okay, if we see the right thing, we will buy it. Like, even if it's like 15 fucking hundred quid, right? But we were just looking at each other and we couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, because it was a pair of trousers with an elastic waistband and no shape of whatsoever. And that's no way of being in a high sort of end furniture shop. I mean, it looked terrible.
I mean, to be fair, the floors were very clean because the trousers are so fucking wide and long that they were literally, all the staff were walking around, literally cleaning the floor as they went along.
I don't know.
But
it didn't feel very business-like to me, or stylish in any way, if that's what the brand is trying to achieve. It was scruffy. It was rubbish. It really put me off.
Yeah. So that was that. So anyone from Bow Concept, if you're listening, like, sort it out, because you're losing sales, because, us highbrow people walk into your stores and we just think that we've walked into P.T. Barnum's circus or whatever. So yeah, there we go. Tailoring Thoughts. So yeah, that's it. So I'm going to go because it's nearly 8 o'clock and it's Sunday and I got an early start as usual. And we need to watch No Time to Die, as Alex has reminded me. But yeah, there we go. So I will make some notes over things that pissed me off during the week, and I will share them with you maybe around the same time next week. But if you got to the end of this episode, thank you for listening. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and leave us a rating and review, because it really, really does help the show. And check us out on YouTube. Check the YouTube channel out. Check my ironing video out and hit like on that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. And as soon as we get to 1,000, then good things start to happen. Join in the fun and send me your questions and comments and thoughts, good and bad. And this has been Tailoring Thoughts, part of the Tailoring Talk Magazine. And I will see you on the next one.